Right. Hello to you all. Thank you so much for joining me today for the pre-departure briefing for your trip in July, which we're got a full house, 24 of you, which is super exciting. I am Millie Whitehead. I head up the Leap, and with my fantastic team, Tanya and Zoe, who you've no doubt received 101 emails from in the past month or so, are responsible for getting you out to Kenya, having a fantastic time, and clearly getting you home. So, the purpose of today, okay, brace yourself. There's a load of information for us to rattle through. We are going to discuss your flights, your guides, a brief overview of the itinerary, injections, visas, money, food, Wi-Fi, insurance, Ebola, friendships, and t-shirts. Okay? So you can just drift off because this will be recorded and then you can, listen to it at a later date. But also at each stage, quick Q&A. So if you've got, just let me rattle on per topic and then ask questions and then we'll move on. So at the end, the goal of this briefing is that you feel fully briefed and prepared for what's coming and expectations are all aligned. Okay, so that is our goal. Ready? Ready. Let's go. Okay, so the first thing is your team and your flights. Okay, so I'm just going to pull up the right documents. There are 24 of you flying on the 12th of July. There is exactly 12 girls and 12 boys. Who knew they could be just so perfect? Thank you for those who have already told us if you're going with a friend so we can sort out the room share. If you haven't already done that, then give us the heads up. If not, we will appoint you all to the various rooms before you get there. So it's pretty easy. Okay. The flight information, that's on a different tab. Okay. Now, you are all going with Air Ethiopia. Now, I know quite a few of you are thinking, really, why did they choose that airline? Well, I promise you, I insist on always fly Air Ethiopia because it's a pretty slick, it is the only way to get to the coast where you arrive in daylight hours, which is absolutely essential for traveling and arriving in Kenya. Okay, nobody can arrive in Mombasa, in the dark in the middle of the night because the hotels there, the airport hotels, are hopeless, and it's just you don't want to be driving in the dark. So that is why we do it. It is pretty slick. Addis Airport is pretty harmless, easy to navigate. You arrive, you have to you go upstairs to this kind of huge, I mean, literally, it's like it is a kind of overgrown bus terminal, is what I would say. It's got a few shops, maybe two cafes, and you really can't get lost in Addis Airport. So it's very easy to navigate. You will be traveling with two guides. You'll be traveling with Kirsten and Izzy. I know you've already been sent their details, but they are fantastic guides who have led many of our gap year programs in Costa Rica. They haven't been to Kenya before, but that doesn't matter because their role is to be a kind of parental loco parentis, to be your chaperones on the to get to chaperones, to navigate getting there from Heathrow to Mombasa. And then when they're there, just to look after you. Because as soon as you get there, you are going to have Janice, Juma, and Joseph, Janet, and Juma. They're called the three J's, who are your guides on the ground. They are utterly fantastic. I've worked with them now for about 5 or 6 years. That you'll be divided up into three teams, but you all live together in a house, but I'll describe that later. But you'll get up, you've got these three guides with each Kirsten and Izzy as your backup. So if you were to be ill, you would go to, well, to any of them really, but they are there just to make sure everyone's morale is up, but not to deliver the program, which is done by the three J's. And on top of Janet, Juma, and Joseph, you've got Tilda and Des, who are the old and bold who head up Oceans Alive. But I'll come back to them. Okay, so that is getting you there and getting you home with Air Ethiopia with Kirsten and Izzy. Now, you will be sent the details of the airport meet and greet. Okay, I don't think you've had that email yet, but long and short of it is we need everybody in your Leap t-shirts, and you're going to meet 3 hours before departure at the Air Ethiopia check-in. Okay, that is the kind of drop-off point. But we will send you those details to clarify closer to the time. Thank you for sending all the paperwork. I know it is a painful, um, paperwork heavy logistics, but you've all been absolutely brilliant. Tans has been printing everything out in the office, and it's just a, just in case Izzy and Kirsten will have copies of your visas, the consent form and everything. So it's just all kind of health and safety squared away. So thank you for sending that. And we appreciate that it is admin heavy. Okay, so any questions on your flight? All good? Yep.
I had one question. I'm Beatrice's dad, and she has had a new passport in the time since we initially gave you her passport. I just can't recall. I will send it to you immediately.
Oh, perfect.
Um, I mean, if there's a visa in an old passport, I guess we can take both passports. But just to say that to you, immediately this call is over, I'll forward you a copy of the new passport.
Okay, so we need the passport numbers like everybody's done for the train ticket, to buy the train ticket, which is on the last day of the trip. But the passport needs to coincide with your visa application. Is that do they match?
Not sure. I will sort it out immediately with your team after this call. Thank you.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Okay. So, with regard to the visas, has everybody got cracking with the visas now? Okay. No, get cracking. Get cracking. We know it is a laborious, and it's you probably partway through want to throw your computer out of the window. Yes, I want to do it every time. It doesn't get easier. Okay. It is just one of those really glitchy websites. But I know we have sent you our top tips for doing it. The biggest top tip is everything you upload has to be in a low res, small megabytes. Okay, that's the kind of the best top tip I can give you. And to compress everything, there's a great website called I Love PDF, literally that. And you just upload that, it's free, and you download your documents, and it compresses everything and spits it out. It's really super helpful. So the visa, and the other thing that I really want you all to get, which is the $10, which is the flying doctor's insurance, which is in addition to the main insurance. Okay, so you're going to have two insurances: your bog standard travel insurance and the flying doctors, the AMREF one. Now the AMREF one is is extremely useful for the health and safety, which I will now describe. Okay, this is how it works. If there was a problem out in Kenya, if you get a sore throat, okay, if you get a cut on the coral, it's going to be dealt with in camp. Okay, you'll be given some throat lozenges. If you've got a cut on the coral, it's being cleaned immediately. If you need to see a doctor, or you think that cut on the coral's not looking good, you will be taken 10 minutes away to the Vipingo Clinic. Let me tell you, it's 24-hour, 7 open service. It is utterly brilliant. In fact, when I go to Kenya, I always go and take all my ailments because it's much quicker than the NHS. It's brilliant. Okay, so there you can get anything from antibiotics. If you cut yourself, a few stitches, you can get your ears cleaned, anything like that, 24/7. If you were to be bitten by a snake, and it hasn't happened in 30 years of doing this, by the way, but if there was, there is a snake clinic 20 minutes away. So that's all easy. If you were to break your leg, okay, you would be taken to the Pingo Clinic. You would be looked after. You'd be, steady the ship, as it were, and then you'd be transported by ambulance or whatever the quickest way. Des and Tilda would probably drive you to Mombasa Hospital. Okay, if Mombasa Hospital couldn't do it, that's when that insurance, the air ambulance, kicks in because they would fly you from Mombasa to Nairobi. If Nairobi couldn't cope with it, you would be flown from Nairobi down to Cape Town. Okay, it is an utterly brilliant service, all for $10. So it is well worth it's the pain of going through that website too. So all of you must travel with the two insurances. And anything that if you were to go to Vipingo Clinic, you have to pay the clinic there and then in cash, but that's easy. I'm going to talk about cash later, how much you're going to take, and you also need to take a debit card and a Revolut card, but we'll come to that. Okay, so that is how health and safety scales up. There's a first aid bag in every car with every guide, the 3Js at all times. So it's a pretty well-oiled, slick machine. Any questions on health and safety? No? Good. Now, the last thing on health and safety is malaria. So I need you all to have your injections. Clearly, the ones I really recommend are the waterborne diseases such as typhoid and Hep A. Some doctors are going to say, "Oh, you're going into Tsavo National Park. You need yellow fever." I've never had yellow fever. That's not me being. The risk is very small, so it's up to each family to make that decision. But the risk is small, as is the risk with cholera. You're going to be given beautiful kind of fresh water to drink all the time. The worst things that happen in Kenya is a bit of kind of diarrhea from the change in food. But you're never to eat the street food. No, that's just a no, don't do it. So all the food you're going to get is really kind of hygienically prepared. So again, the risks are really low for anything like cholera or any of the other nasties that you hear. But malaria, it isn't a high risk malaria zone, but we want everybody to take malaria pills. Okay, so you need them for the full length of time you're out there. But listen up. If you feel weird, okay, day 2, day 3 of taking those malaria tablets and you're not feeling yourself, it is a thing, okay? It can make you feel a bit off, make you feel a bit low, your mood, it can give you diarrhea, okay? I don't want you to struggle alone. I want you to go to Kirsten, to Izzy, to Janet, Joseph, Juma, and say, I'm not feeling great. Okay. And we will together make a decision whether you come off the malaria pills. Okay. It happens every group. There is always one or two people whose bodies just don't react well. Okay. I took a group of midlifers out about a few months ago, and I would say half of us didn't work well with it and came off it. Now, spraying up is the best thing you can do. So parents in their little first aid bag, I want that jungle formula. Okay, it's the best, it's the most robust. Okay, it might not be green and healthy, but it's going to be really good at night. So you will have showers probably about 5 o'clock an hour before the sun goes down. And that is the nasty hour. That's mozzie hour, okay, when they come out. As soon as the sun's gone, they go to bed. Okay, so that's your risky hour beforehand. So you need showers, you need long sleeved shirts, long sleeved trousers. The best trousers, girls, that you can get are those really thin. A Spiga sells them, cotton trousers with the elasticated bottom on the leg. They're perfect because the mozzies can't fire up your leg. They're brilliant. And then you spray your feet, your hands around your neck. Job done. Okay? So that's the best thing that you can do. Mozzie nets are all provided, so you don't need anything like that. But just be mindful. Malaria, feeling off, raise the alarm. Okay? Any questions on
Yeah, I have
any
a
of that?
question.
Yeah.
What is the rationale for recommending Hep B vaccine,
It's
which is not waterborne, obviously?
it's not waterborne. If you needed a blood transfusion out there, there are, you would be, you're not high risk. You're going to really good medical clinics with screened blood. So I would say the risk again is low. I, I, the, you know, I can't tell you what to do. I can only give you the risks. If it's high or low risk, I would say it's low risk. Do most people have it? Probably not. But, you have to feel happy with that as a family and, make that decision with your doctor. Sorry. It's just how it is. Um, okay. So now we're moving on to the itinerary, okay, and the fun and games of what you're going to do when you're out there and the kind of excitement, the adventure that you have signed up for. Okay, you are going out to work with Oceans Alive. Now, Oceans Alive they are one of the most pioneering, inspiring NGOs on the Kenya coast. They are leaders in marine conservation, and now their marine conservation model is now being copied in 30 different sites up and down the east coast of Africa. Okay, they are awesome. And just to tell you, King Charles visited them a few years ago, and he is a great kind of sponsor and believer in them. So you are not turning up to some Mickey Mouse project where you're just going to paint a wall and walk away. No, no, no. You are actually going to be involved with inspiring, insightful NGO where you will come away thinking, wow, there are some good people in this world making a difference, and it is possible to make a difference with very little. So, how they began. This is just a brief overview of Oceans Alive. Oceans Alive was set up by Des and Tilda Bowden. Des and Tilda, they are old Kenyans. They've been there all their life, third or fourth generation. And about 15 years ago, Des was just like horrified that the coral where he used to, snorkeling as a kid was now decimated. So he thought, okay, I'm going to do something about that, as one does. So he got the community on board and said, right, we have got to turn this around because there is no coral, there's no fish. And if there's no fish, all the communities that live, the coastal communities, are basically going to starve. It is that simple. It's like, what are we going to do about this? So, together with all the local communities, all the head honchos, they really kind of put their heads together and go, right, we're going to trial this. They created a no fish zone for 6 months of the year. They then got some marine experts to start showing them how to rebuild coral, which you are going to learn how to do. And that is involved going to the ocean, collecting little bits of broken off chipped coral, which is still alive, sticking them onto coral plugs, sticking them onto bigger creations made out of wire or breeze blocks, and submerging them into the sea. And you're going to see these coral beds from that size to this size. And this reef is now abundant with colour, abundant with fish. And they've done that in less than 10 years. It is phenomenal of what they've done. So you're going to see a beach right outside your accommodation of zero coral. And then you're going to see a beach in their protected zone, abundant. But what they couldn't do is say to the fishermen, right, there's no fishing here for 6 months of the year, because again, they're going to completely starve, because they are completely reliant on fish for, yes, their protein, yes, their food, but also for their income to sell on. So they've built Geco stoves, these little stoves, which you're going to build in more houses. So we're going through all the coastal communities, building, each group builds, you're probably going to build about 6 stoves. That's changing the lives of 6 families. And each stove is the same concept as a mini Aga. Okay, it means it is fuel efficient and the fuel can burn up and get really, really hot. So now they can fry their fish. By frying that one fish, it lasts for 3 days as opposed to just going off overnight. Simple, simple thing. You're also going to help them build permaculture. All the old cement sacks that gets thrown onto the side of the road. Now we've got a whole garden, an education garden, and then you go out into the villages building these filling in their sacks with kind of manure and good soil, and now they can grow fruit and veggies in their gardens which they can sell in the market. There's other things that we've started. We've got a women's empowerment centre which is literally just being launched before the first group, before you get there. We've sent out sewing machines. So that's also helping the women find alternative methods of income. So you are going to see, you're going to be helping, contributing, learning, and seeing for yourself how change can be made. But through doing this, building these, educating the kids, picking up the litter, seeing what the women do with the litter. I mean, every day is different. You are going to be learning so many skills. So when it comes to CV time, when it comes to your UCAS form, my God, have you got evidence? When they say to you, give me a time, are you a problem solver? Oh yes, hands up. You can talk about the Geco stove. When have you worked at a team? Oh, hands up, yes. As a team, we went and planted out a whole coral structure. I mean, hello, suddenly your CV, your UCAS form is looking really pretty sexy compared to others. So, it is a wonderful, all immersing, full on, no 2 days are the same, no hour is the same, busy experience. So we are writing this week. We've got the itineraries because we've just got the tide times that have been confirmed to work to show you every day what you're going to be doing, so you can get a feel for all the different projects. But that is how you will learn and see on day one how all Oceans Alive's projects are all interconnected. It's all linked up thinking, and how you're going to make a huge difference to them. Because Oceans Alive, the difference that they make is all due to the volunteers that go and actually do the work. So we are hugely grateful to you all. Okay, any questions on that? I love to prattle on about Oceans Alive, as you might have noticed. So sorry. I'll keep it short from now on. Any questions on Oceans Alive? No? All good. Okay. Right. Money. Okay. I would like you to take out 2 cards if you can. It's just your normal debit card, and if you've got a Revolut card. Yep. Those are good for emergencies. But what I really want you to take out is the equivalent of £150 in Kenyan shillings. Okay? Then you are sorted. And that is going to be spent, and we'll put this in your email just before you go. Death by email from the Leap, I know. But that is going to be spent. You're going to have 2 fun meals out. One at the beach bar on the last day, and one at the Vapingo Club one evening, which is kind of a pizza night where you're going to watch the David Attenborough Oceans movie early on. And then the other costs are for tips. It is just standard out in Kenya. Everybody has to bring a tip, but I'll break that down in an email. And then you're going to have a few little shopping opportunities. Now, the shopping opportunities, the best one is going to be at the beach when you have the beach bar day. That's when they get all these lovely ladies from the village to come, and you buy all the little bracelets and sarongs and all that nonsense. When you go on safari, okay, you are going to stop at a curio shop. It's just part of the journey on the safari, okay? You're not to buy anything there. That is the most expensive rip-off place known to man, okay? Do not, well, go in and have a browse and buy yourself a Coke or a drink, but do not let yourself be bamboozled into buying a carved elephant at $50. Okay, it's not worth it, and and I'm telling you now, that is called majorly being ripped off. Okay, so don't do it, team. Don't allow yourself to be bamboozled. Okay, so on the last 2 days, you are going to go on safari. You are going to go on safari with Chris and Janine Angel. They are fabulous. They have been in this world of safaris for far too long. I think Chris is now in his 70s and Janine, and they are just awesome. And they really bring a safari to life. Okay. If there's a lion to be found, they doggedly find it. But it's not about the big guys. It's about the little people. It's about the dung beetles. It's about all the small people that they bring to life. So they have a fantastic team. There's a cycling element. You're going to be staying the first night in Ungatuni, which is one of my favorite places. When you arrive, you're going to walk in and you're going to be the view that you're going to see is just going to kind of blow you out the water. I'm not going to tell you why, but it's exceptional. And then the second day, you're going to go to Taita Hills. It's not as pretty as Ungatuni, but it's on the kind of neighbouring conservancy. It's got great game, and it has got a swimming pool, and it's got lots of activities. So in the heat of the day, when you're boiling hot and you're not on safari, you can go swimming and, chilling out. On your final day, you're going to get up early. You're going to go on the train, and you're going to train it back from Voi to Mombasa. That avoids all the nightmare Mombasa Road. And then you'll get picked up at the end and taken to the airport. Easy peasy. Okay. So that is your first chunk of time is with Oceans Alive. And then your last 2 nights are with Chris and Janine, who are really special. And, we're really lucky to have them as safari guides, because a safari with a dull guide is a disastrous safari. So, we're really lucky to have them. Okay. Any questions on that? No? Okay, we're nearly there. I promise we're nearly there. Wi-Fi communication, how it's going to work. Parents, I want you to chill out while they're there, okay? And leave it to us. If there was a problem, we're going to call you immediately. We're on call 24/7. You will be given that number just before they go to stick in your phone, but that really is for emergencies only. It's not for, I think they've forgotten I forgot to pack his shorts or anything like that. It's an emergency number. So if you call, if there is an emergency, that's how we communicate. There is Wi-Fi at the home where you're going to be living at Oceans Alive, which I have yet to describe to you. There is Wi-Fi there. It's good for WhatsApp. It's good for Snapchat. It's not for downloading movies or endlessly watching, reels, complicated reels. Okay. We are hoping that phones are going to be down during the day. We really hope that, you're just going to put them away and really be focused. And then you'll have some kind of phone time in the evening to WhatsApp home. But we will be sending some photos. We're going to work out what the best way of doing that is from our guides to kind of show you, what's going on. Okay. When you're on safari, again, in both safari camps, there's really good Wi-Fi. So, but when you're on the road, there isn't. And I'm not going to suggest you get local SIM cards, because when you're on the road and when you're out and about, I really want you to not communicate. So, bit mean of me, I know, but it's good for you in the long term. You'll thank me later. I'm just looking at my little list. T-shirts. Your T-shirts are going to be sent out for you. If you haven't filled in any of the forms which Tanya has sent, you won't be getting a T-shirt, okay? So the T-shirt is small, medium, large, extra large. It will be on its way. Again, reminder, you're going to wear that at the airport. The last thing I just want to kind of talk about, which I know we've had a few emails on, is what is happening with the Ebola in Central America. I know this is a real downer. Don't like to end on a downer, but I just want to reassure all of you that we are on it. We have great contacts in going right to the tippy top with a British embassy in Kenya. So we will be led by them and by the Foreign Office. But it's all gone quiet, and I think it's all under control right now, with keeping it contained. If the worst case scenario happened and we deemed for any reason that it was too risky to go, then we would unravel as much of the program as possible. And your flights, they can't be unraveled, but they can be redated. Okay. As with the safari, that can't be unraveled. We have to pay for the safaris up front. And again, since COVID, everyone is much tighter, and it's like, no, there are no refunds, but we will move it to a different date. So we would then give everybody an option we would give new dates the following year for you to choose from, and we would move the safari commitment and your flight commitment to that. So that is what we would do. But it's not going to happen. Okay? So everyone chill their beans. It's not going to happen. I know it. It's all contained. So far, so good. So any questions on any of it? Leapers? You guys who are actually going to experience the experience? You're all good. Okay. Now we know when you get to the airport, a lot of you are going to be on your Todd thinking, Christ alive, I don't know a single soul. That's quite overwhelming. I get you. It is. It's proper scary stuff. Traveling with possibly 24 people that you've never met before. Okay. I know how it feels, because when I take a midlifer, I too get to the airport and I'm in my late 50s and I still get nervous. So that nervous feeling is a good feeling. Don't let it ruin your day. Just, it's like putting your big girl underpants on and going for it. And I promise you, within the first 24 hours, you are friends for life. You don't have time to think about home, what you're doing. You're straight into the program. Okay. You're straight into the challenges, wide-eyed, bushy-tailed, you're in it. Okay, so that feeling of nerves will be very short-lived. When you get there, you are in our kind of home, which is called Bahari High, and it is really cozy. Okay, so it's right on the beach. You're in little rondavels. It was an old hotel. It's probably a kind of 3-star hotel. Right now, it's having a right lick of paint and being whipped into shape. And I'm heading out the week before you go just to make sure it is all lickety-split. But, it's really cozy. It's safe. It's it's you've got little rondavels all next to each other. You've got lots of kind of chill out areas. You've got a little pool there. You've got a fantastic team who are cooking all your food, doing all your washing, looking out for you. You know, it is a really caring, gorgeous environment. So you will feel the kind of love and looked after as soon as you arrive. Okay? So we're going to kind of chop you up into kind of bedrooms. So again, reminder, if you haven't told us about a friendship, tell us. That, I believe, is me rattled on through my lovely little list. So is everyone feeling good? Yeah? Feeling informed? Yes, question. Claire.
Yeah, thank you. And I think actually I saw it in a chat a bit earlier, but it was a good question. Should people check in online ahead of arriving at the airport, presumably?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Yes. Great question. Yes, everybody check in online, but meet at the Ethiopia bag drop.
Lovely. And I think as well, I saw that you'd asked about taking children's books because you're hoping to set up a library. Is there any age range in particular that you're looking for?
Up to 11.
Okay.
So it's primary school, and literally just go through old bookshelves. Just a couple of lovely
Yeah.
books.
Yeah.
Orphanship.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. And yes, so we're aiming to set up all groups this summer. We're aiming to set up a LEAP library within the community, right in the heart of the community. So it's primary school level, whether it's associated with the school or not. I think it's going to be associated with the acrobatic club who you're going to meet. That's just like part of it. That's just like brace yourself for that. That's a fantastic night of these acrobats who, you know, you jaw-dropping stuff. So that's really good. So we're hoping to probably set it up there. Okay. I'm waffling. Okay. Good to go. Any questions? You know where we are. Apologize by the death by email from the Leap, but it has to be done. And thank you to you all for sending everything and being brilliant at your admin. That's directed to you, parents. You've been brilliant. Okay. Goodbye, and have a fantastic adventure.
Thanks.